Hey, what is up guys, SciTechCity here. It appears that tablets are not so popular these days and their sales are plummeting down. However, there is a category of products, whether it be for tablets, phones, or any sort of devices that excites me. That's the budget-friendly category of devices. This is Valuechain's attempt at the budget-friendly market of tablets. So without further delay, let's get right into it. Now, on paper, this tablet features an ARM v7 quad-core processor with PowerVR SGX 540 graphics card, a gigabyte of RAM, and 2 gigabytes of onboard storage out of the box, and 1.88 gigabytes of the 2 gigabytes is available for use. Now, the screen measures in at 10.1 inches with a resolution of 1024 by 600 pixels. On paper, as you can clearly tell, this tablet is not the most beastly tablet on the market, and that's definitely not the focus of the tablet. But surprisingly enough, despite the seemingly horrible specifications, the overall experience on the tablet was actually quite smooth. Although there were a few hiccups from time to time and frame rate drops, navigating through the UI, browsing the web, watching YouTube videos, and other daily tasks were handled very well by the tablet. And I have also tried gaming on this tablet. I have tried a non-intensive game, a moderately intensive game, and a very intensive game, and frame rates did not drop noticeably at all, and I was able to play the game just fine, and it was a very good experience. However, I did notice that the tablet got a bit warm during the gameplays, but there was nothing crazy happening, like the tablet shutting down, the tablet crashing, or anything of that sort. But there is, unfortunately, a major issue with the tablet, and that is the screen. Okay, so for one thing, the screen seems very pixelated, and that I did expect that from a tablet at this price range, but the issue doesn't end there. The screen seems extremely washed out, and the viewing angles are absolutely horrible. I have no idea why, but the screen has an optimal viewing angle when the tablet is held in such a way that the tablet is slightly tilted back from the user. And if the tablet is tilted up or down or sideways, the screen's color becomes very weird and even more washed out than it already is. And I personally think the screen is definitely not a strong point of this tablet. Okay, so looking around the device, the tablet features plastic construction all around, and the tablet reminds me very much of the Nexus 10 that Google announced back in October 2012 because of the rounded corners and the similar overall shape. However, whereas the Nexus 10 used soft touch plastic, the plastic material used here is glossy plastic. And let me tell you guys right away, it is a fingerprint magnet. And I'm not a huge fan of this material at all, as it attracts fingerprint, finger oil, and any dust or debris when it makes any sort of contact with any surface or hands. And another thing is that the tablet's build quality doesn't seem to be that good either. There is a considerable amount of flex that occurs when the back of the tablet is pressed. And when the tablet is held with even a bit of pressure, the screen seems to distort due to the digitizer and the LCD making contact. But having said all these bad things about the build of this tablet, they don't seem to cause any major problems, and I didn't notice any malfunctions during the time I've tested this tablet. And on the upside, the tablet is very easy to grip and feels quite nice in the hand, in the sense that it is in fact quite grippy. The fact that the tablet is 1.1 centimeters thick and features nicely beveled matte plastic sides help with the grip as well. And from my time with it, I didn't feel that it was either too heavy or too light. The weight it was well distributed throughout the tablet, so it doesn't feel top heavy or bottom heavy or anything of that sort. So overall, I would say that the tablet feels very nice in the hands. So button placement for this tablet is quite well thought out as well. On the top, we have volume buttons and a physical back button. Yes, a physical back button. Not sure why Valuechain decided to include such button, despite the fact that there's on-screen buttons, which I'll demonstrate later in this video. But I guess the button's there if you need it. On the right side of the tablet, this is where all the stuff happens. From left to right, we have a power button, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a mini HDMI port, 2 micro USB ports, a reset button, a proprietary charging port, a micro SD card slot, and finally a microphone. So I do have a lot of things to say about the plethora of ports that Valuechain has integrated into this tablet. First of all, I really do appreciate the fact that there is a mini HDMI port, because it means that you have the option of hooking this to a secondary monitor if so desired. And I guess if you really wanted to, you could hook up an OTG cable to the tablet as well, hook up a mouse, keyboard, and make this into an Android computer, if you will. And speaking of OTG, this tablet supports OTG right out of the box, and interestingly enough, comes with an OTG cable in the box, so you don't have to go out and buy a separate OTG cable. So that's a very nice addition. One thing I don't understand though is why Valuechain included two micro USB ports, for one called USB and one called host. Now, I automatically assumed that the OTG cable would only work on the host port, but it turns out that the host port is not able to detect any type of input. So the port is totally useless. Now, I have absolutely no idea why Valuechain did this, but there's a totally useless port on the device. Beside the totally useless port is a proprietary charging port. Again, I have no idea why Valuechain did this. I mean, like, could they have not integrated charging into one of the two micro USB ports? There's a lot going on here, but some of it is actually not necessary at all, as you can clearly see. But anyhow, all this functionality that Valuechain has integrated into this tablet is very appreciable. The mini HDMI, the USB OTG, those are great features. I just wish that they could have cut down on the ports a bit. And finally, just to show you guys, on the left and bottom sides of the tablet, there is nothing at all. Moving on to the front of the device, there is a 0.3 megapixel camera located on the right side of the tablet. And this is an absolutely terrible camera, and you can probably tell that it is from the fact that the camera is only 0.3 megapixels. I mean, I'm sure you can use this for video chats, but then again, I would have appreciated at least a 1 megapixel camera on the front. On the back, there's a similar story going on. The camera on the back boasts a megapixel count of 2 megapixels. And again, it's alright to say the best. I honestly can't imagine anyone seriously taking photos with their tablets anyway. But the 2 megapixel camera is capable of taking photos that are at least recognizable. I personally think that Valuechain should have just used the resources and money used on the camera on the back to better the camera on the front, or at least reduce the price of the tablet from $120 to $100. But anyways, beside the camera, we have a dual speaker layout. Again, I don't know what's up with Valuechain making these weird decisions, but they decided to put the dual speaker layout on the right side of the tablet instead of, oh, I don't know, in the middle of the tablet. But thankfully, the speakers are quite good, and they do get quite loud. They do produce distortion when the volume is increased above 70%, but I'm sure most people using a tablet wouldn't normally go above that level anyways. So the speakers are definitely better than the camera, I would say. Now, to talk about the battery life of the tablet, the battery contained in this tablet is 5,000 milliamp hours in capacity, and that's enough to get you about 4.5 hours of screen on time from my experience, and that was through moderate use of browsing the web, watching some YouTube videos, some gaming from time to time. Now, 4.5 hours of screen on time is good to say the best. It's pretty average. Most tablets go for about 5 hours or 6 hours of screen on time, and I wish this tablet would have been able to go for longer like that, but maybe I'm being a bit too ambitious for a budget-friendly tablet. That's what it is. 4.5 hours is definitely not bad. It will definitely get you through the day if you're not a heavy user and if you're not gaming or watching videos all the time. Now, to talk about the overall software experience of this tablet. As soon as you turn on the tablet for the first time, the first thing that you'll notice is the fact that this version of Android is very close to stock Android. The tablet runs Android KitKat 4.4.2 out of the box. Unfortunately, no Lollipop here, and I don't expect Valuechain to update the software of this tablet anytime soon. Having said that, the stability and fluidity of the software as it is quite good, and I wouldn't be surprised or disappointed if Valuechain stopped pushing updates for this tablet. So to talk about the overall user interface, the only real variance of this version of Android to stock Android is a slightly unusual layout of on-screen software buttons. You do have the usual back, home, and multitasking buttons, but in addition to those, you have a screen capture button and volume controls. Although I never found myself using the screen capture button that often, the volume controls were actually surprisingly very useful. If you are a person that consumes a lot of media with the tablet, then these will definitely come in handy, as tapping on volume control buttons can sometimes be considerably easier than pressing hardware buttons, especially when you're holding the tablet in the air with your hands. I kind of wish that the button layout was customizable by the user via settings, but that is unfortunately not the case. But then again, it's not a deal breaker by any means. Other than the slight variance in on-screen buttons, the tablet also does come with Valuechain's bloatware. And for the most part, the only bloatware on here are applications targeted for kids. More specifically, the tablet comes with a set of applications to restrict young users of this tablet from accessing inappropriate content. So the main application is called Kids Place, which encapsulates several applications for kids, like a kids video player, kids picture viewer, kids safe browser, and kids play store. As their names imply, they are children's alternatives to a video player, picture viewer, browser, and play store respectively. I found that all of these applications were in fact very effective in blocking out inappropriate content. And the fact that you can customize specifically what photos or videos can be viewed within these applications was very convenient. And of course, all of these applications can be locked via a 4-digit PIN code. Other than the kids series of applications, other bloatware on this tablet include a video player, screen recording app, and more. Now, in the case that you absolutely hate the bloatware on this tablet and want to get rid of them, this tablet does come pre-rooted. This is extremely convenient as you can not only get rid of the bloatware, but download any root requiring applications to really bring an endless amount of functionality to this tablet. So in conclusion, I've talked a lot of things about the tablet during this video, both good things and bad things. At the end of the day though, there are many drawbacks of this tablet, including the odd positioning of the camera and speaker on the tablet, the okay screen quality, somewhat of an overabundance of unnecessary features, the okay camera quality, and the slightly slow charging speed. But the tablet is, in fact, very good at what it's supposed to provide for the user. Media consumption, smooth gaming, and everyday performance, okay battery life, and great functionality. Just that the screen quality is not that great, as I've mentioned. But also considering the fact that this tablet only costs $130 on Amazon Canada, this tablet is actually quite good for what it is. So in the end, I would recommend this tablet for anyone who is looking for an Android tablet that won't break the bank for usage at home and occasional use on the go. So that's all for me guys. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for updates. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.